Capitals, Hurricanes, Rangers, Red Wings, Avalanche, and Oilers. 3 games we'll break down here today, guys. Welcome into PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andy, Carmine, and Andrew here with you to break these down. Carm, we'll go to you for your thoughts. The Capitals just hopeful for the playoffs, man. They're taking on the Carolina Hurricanes that have been looking pretty great lately.
Yeah, so a couple surprises yesterday. The Canes came out flat, but the Bruins will make you actually look flat, down 3-0 after one period in that game, and it's tough to come back from a 3-0 deficit against the Boston Bruins, regardless of where you are, whether it's home or on the road. They're such a good team, but the Canes have been good on the second of back-to-backs post All-Star break. They're 7-0-1 this since the All-Star break on off a loss, which obviously they're coming off of here. And Andrew, I'm kind of looking at the team total in this one, and I'll get to some numbers in a second because the Washington Capitals drop another one, a team that's played so well, and I picked them not to make the playoffs, and the odds went against me, but they're now sitting on the outside looking in, although it's just it's slim margins because it is tiebreakers and such. But this team's now lost 4 straight games. They've allowed 18 goals in those games, and the Pens were just better than them yesterday. And they came out fired up. Sid and the boys, man, they're making that playoff run as well too. The updated odds on Washington to make the playoffs now is yes is 155, no is minus 190. I played it at the no at minus 230, 240-ish. So I'm hoping for a Canes win in regulation tonight, just so that number drops even more to give people a hedge opportunity if they want. The Canes team total here is 3.5 minus 140. We see these team totals throughout the day get juiced. So if you're going to grab it, if you even are considering playing it, you got to play it early because it's going to hit 150, 160 could hit by game time. Those 8 games that they've played off a loss, 5 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 4 goals, 2, 4, and 2. So they've scored goals in those games, but they're averaging about 3.8 goals scored in those games off a loss. The Canes are a good team. The Bruins just made them look bad in that game. I think the Canes get the win tonight, and they do so by scoring at least 4 in this one. So give me the Canes team total over 3.5 minus 140. I'm taking a prop to start today's show because you know who's on today's show? Andy Lang. The guy is absolutely killing the prop market in the NHL this season. He's doing so fantastic. Andy, honestly, you are doing so well in the NHL this season that I believe someone should create a meme of you on the prop market. Something like that. I think that is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. It is
That's
like
sweet.
you have your sights on the NHL props, man, and they are looking good, Andy. You got to give me your thoughts on this game, the Canes and the Capitals.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't think I've done a side or a total this entire season, and yes, it has been a pretty amazing season. I love that one. That's great photoshopping there. Actually, Carl, I'm with you on the team total. I'm going to the other team though. I'm going to look at the Capitals, and I'm taking their under. Capitals, their team total 2.5 is minus 155. If you're feeling frisky, you can take them under 1.5 at plus 180. Capitals, 4 straight games under 2.5 goals. 2 of those games they scored 1. Here's the other thing. Hurricanes are great after a loss. So on March 2nd, they lose to Winnipeg. Next game, they come out and they win 4-1 against Montreal. March 12th, they lose to the Rangers. Next game, they came out 4-0 win against Florida. March 22nd, they lose to Washington. Next game, they win 2-1 against Toronto. March 26th, they lose to Pittsburgh. Next game, they win 4-0 to Detroit. So their last 4 losses, they've allowed 1-0, 1, and 0 total goals. So it's a team that doesn't lose many games in a row, and when they lose, they come out with a vengeance the next game. So I'm looking at fading this Capitals team. I think points and goals are going to be really, really hard to come by. I like the 2.5 as it gives you a little bit of buffer, but plus 180, pretty nice, juicy prop on a team that I think is going to struggle to score tonight.
That's a great price. That is a great price there. So it sets up pretty perfectly. We've got a team total under, a team total over. So a 4-0 scoreline works for all of us here, guys, because I'm just on the full game under. So we need to get Carmine his goals, but no goals for the other team. That completely works for me. And it's so amazing, guys, the way you can look at, Carm, you were referencing like Money Puck and some of those websites that talk about the playoff odds, and you scroll down and you pretty much have teams either 100%, 0%, and then there's a few teams in the Eastern Conference just absolutely battling it out. And the Washington Capitals were such a nice story for a couple weeks. They were on a good winning streak. They're playing well. Ovechkin was in the highlights every night. And then, man, this team has just fallen off. They've just crashed and burned. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Boston, Toronto, like just absolutely firing off a bunch of losses in a row. And the scoring touch, that's the problem. I talked for so many weeks about how top heavy this team was. And when you're a top heavy team, if your star players don't score for you for a game or two in a row, you just look horrible because nobody else is stepping up and helping out. So you've got one team that's gone under in 4 of their last 5 against one team that's gone under in 5 straight games. And, the example that Andy mentioned yesterday about the bounce back ability, right, for Carolina. Lately, for me, I've been looking at these teams that come in second half of a back-to-back. I only want to fade them if they're coming off a big win. They're coming off a big loss. You're feeling, you're just absolutely chomping at the bit to be able to get back out there on the ice. Like the letdown spots to me only occur after a big win. There's no such thing as a letdown after a loss, second half of a back-to-back. And when Carolina plays their best hockey, when they get together and the coach absolutely drills them in the locker room and says, what the hell was that performance yesterday? Their best effort is just playing good defense. And that's how they play. That's why they're built for the playoffs. And that's why I like the under here, guys. This, to me, should have that playoff feel to it. I keep mentioning these teams that are playoff bound, these teams that are aiming for the playoffs. You're seeing a lot more defensive games in those. And then the games where you have teams that aren't playoff bound, those are the ones where we're just seeing pond hockey. So we got a team total over, we got a team total under, and we got a full game under to start the show off here on Puck Time as I'm on the under here, guys.
All right, 4-0 final, Andrew, and it works for everyone, I guess. I saw some of the messages in our live chat. Apparently, New York had a 4.8 earthquake just a little while ago, just a few seconds ago. That wasn't Kikuchi getting rocked on the mound at 1:00 against the New York Yankees. That was an actual earthquake. Manny in our chat said that the eggs in his fridge cracked. So Manny's having an omelet for lunch today. But with that said, guys, stay safe, man. Speaking of Andrew, speaking of earthquakes, this next game could really be one.
Yeah, well, the Detroit Red Wings, they might not have remembered how to play defense lately. Andy, I'm curious what you have for us in this one. Are you targeting players on the Rangers, the Red Wings, team totals? What do you have for us in this one?
Yeah, let's do this as our same game parlay. I like the Rangers, and I'm focusing on Adam Fox. So this is a plus 122. Same game parlay on DraftKings. We're going to do Adam Fox over 1.5 shots on goal, Adam Fox to have a point, and the Rangers over 1.5 team total. So we'll start with the team total. I mean, 2 goals. They've scored 2 or more in 30 out of their last 31 games, so I think they'll get here. Detroit is 27th in shots on goals allowed, and Adam Fox has 11 shots on goal in the last 3 games. He's gone over this 1.5 total in 7 out of 10 and 20 out of the last 30 road games. He did play Detroit earlier the season, and he did have 2 shots on goal. And then he has a point in 22 out of the last 30 games. He's just been really packing the stat sheet this year. 11 out of the last 12 games. And Detroit's given up 13 goals in their last 4 games. So I like the Rangers to score some goals. I like Adam Fox to be involved, and at plus 122, really, really good price here. Rangers over 1.5 team total, Fox over shots on goal, and Fox to have a point.
Great price, and I love the defenseman props. I love when you give out the defenseman. I will continue to die on this hill that the prices you get with the D-men, it doesn't matter how good they're playing. It doesn't matter the streak they're on. The bookmakers just don't notice the defenseman. And I've got a defenseman prop in my best bet segment to get to. The same game parlay of the day from our guy Andy Lang. Carm, where are you going in this game here? Rangers, Red Wings.
Andrew, I'm glad I didn't mute myself because I would have lost that bet. Listen, I really want, I'll tell you, there's a little bit of bias in me. The bias in me is that I want the Rangers to lose. And I like the Rangers, but I want them to lose because I put in a bet. If you guys watched yesterday, Game Time with Kelly at 6 o'clock, I talked about some futures that you could take right now. And one of them was the Dallas Stars winning the President's Trophy. The Rangers are the favorite right now, but the Dallas Stars are plus 190. They're only a point back of the New York Rangers for the President's Trophy, and I think have an easier schedule to close out than they do. Both teams have what I think it's 6 games left for both teams. 6 games left for both teams. So I would love to see them drop points here in this one, obviously. And then the second thing is I want Detroit to win. They're off that picking up 3 points in the Florida double. They're coming back home, so it's given them a bit of life as well too. And you look at the standings; they can't afford to drop any points right now. They're sitting on 82 points. They're 1 point back of both the Islanders and Philadelphia. And if you subscribe to the fact that the Philadelphia Flyers are playing themselves out of a playoff spot, then Detroit just needs to pick up a few points and to keep the teams behind them at bay. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I have to believe it's going to be a low-scoring game in this one. Shesterkin is likely to be the goalie in this one. He's not confirmed as of yet. Lyon is confirmed for, or as Buster says, Leon, for the Detroit Red Wings. But I'm going to lean under here. I just think if Detroit can play similar to what they did when they were in Florida, to playing against Florida and Tampa, where they play a lot better defensively, and they can get a little bit of scoring, this game stays under total and they pick up a win. The side part of it, guys, is completely biased. So don't play it because I'm saying Detroit's going to win. I'm going to be cheering for Detroit to win, but the under is the play for me here.
Yeah, I kind of want. I just like madness at this point in the year. It's kind of like when I watch March Madness and I don't have a bet on anything. I'm just cheering for the underdog. I just like the upsets. I like craziness to happen. It's kind of how I feel right now with the Eastern Conference playoff race. But don't look now, guys. 10 of the last 11 games for the Rangers have gone over the total. This is a team that a couple years in a row in the playoffs, every game they played in was like 2-1. Old school hockey, and it's been a little bit different for them right now. But guys, I'm not going to go with the full game over. I'm actually going to go with a rare first period play for me, over 1.5 minus 120 first period bet. I've noticed these teams both getting off to fast starts, whether it's poor defensive play or great offensive upside. They're not wasting any time when they get out there. And in fact, a lot of their games have actually been starting off fast and then slowing down. Take a look at some of these games lately. For the New York Rangers, giving up 3 against the Devils, 5 against Pitt, 5 against the Arizona Coyotes, 5 against Philadelphia. They've certainly been giving up goals. And Detroit, I just don't know if they know how to play defensively. I really don't. I don't think that's their bread and butter. So as much as they want to, I think this game might start out fast. We see the first period go over, and then the game slows down a little bit. So it would be great to be able to get this full game to go under, and then the first period goes over. But it's very rare these days you can get a minus 120 number on a first period to go over. And honestly, I might put a little bit of a sprinkle on both teams to score, because that turns into a plus money wager in the first period. We'll stick with the minus 120. Rangers, Red Wings, at least 2 goals in the opening frame here.
I like that, Andrew, because I like that the theory of you get some goals in the first period and then the game just kind of settles in. I had the Rangers against the New Jersey Devils in regulation as a 5% play earlier this week, and watching they interviewed Laviolette during I think during the game or during one of the periods, and he said, he goes, "We're not playing well." He goes, "The last week to 2 weeks," he goes, "we're just not playing well defensively." And you can tell by the amount of overs in their games. They're winning games, but they're allowing goals. And while it may seem good because you're winning games, it's the allowing goals part of it. You get into some bad routines, and then come playoff time, you play a team that knows how to shut you down. And if those defensive liabilities are still there, you end up getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Not saying that's going to happen to the New York Rangers, but again, he knows they've got some defensive issues. So you would think that they'd try and focus on that and play a much more defensive game, which is one of the reasons why I'm leaning to the under. But totals are so tough in this last couple of weeks of the NHL season. Games that look like they're soaring over end up staying under, and vice versa.
It's going to be really interesting to see if once the postseason arrives, we see the scoring continue for some of these teams, or they just flip the switch and all of a sudden playoff hockey returns and they play low scoring games. Because you guys know how it is. Like the second the playoffs start, unless you're the Edmonton Oilers and, you know, somehow you score more goals in the playoffs, a lot of times it's more defense and we see a lot lower scoring of games. So cannot wait for that. But guys, we got one more great game to look at. 6 and 60 segment, best bets, plenty of show left here on Puck Time, powered by WagerTalk. Guys, please, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. Want to let you guys know you can watch on your mobile device on YouTube Shorts live, as well as Instagram Live. We're all over the place. Facebook, TikTok. You can find us. WagerTalk TV is the handle across all platforms. All right, guys, enough about the Red Wings. Let's talk about some real teams here. Some real games. I apologize to the Detroit office. I don't want to get too offensive here. But we got the Avalanche and the Oilers here, Carm. These are some teams that we can actually bet some overs on, some player prop overs, team total overs, full game overs most of the time. People like to bet on overs, you know. So what do you have for us in this game?
After that joke about the Detroit Red Wings, Andrew, after the show, if your phone starts to ring and it's Johnny Detroit, you might want to send that one to voicemail. I'm just telling you now. You look at this one, Andrew, and I've got it up on the site as a show free play, and it's going to be my play at the end as well too. But I'm going to talk about it here anyways. I'm going to take the over in this game. It's a little juiced at minus 130. There's a thought that this game could even go to 7 close to game time. Oilers are coming off a disappointing 2-game road trip in which they only managed 2 goals in those games, and that was in a loss to St. Louis, and then they got shut out by Dallas in their game. But at home, they're on an 8-0-1 run in which they've scored 43 goals. They're averaging 4.78 goals a game scored across those 9 games. They're scoring, and you got the Avs coming in on a second of a back-to-back. And the Avs in this situation, they've only played 6 back-to-back games, but in the second of a back-to-back, their games are averaging 7.17 goals per game. I just think we're going to see some goals in this one. The Oilers need to get back to what they do, which is scoring. And the Avs aren't taking any nights off. The Western Conference right now, as these teams are jockeying for spots, not only in the Pacific but in the Central, and those number 1 seeds, number 2 seeds, they're not taking any nights off. I expect both teams to contribute to the scoring here, and I think we get over this total of 6.5. Andy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I'll be going unders. Take Evander Kane to not have a point. He's been really, really good to me, taking the unders. I've played him 5 times this season to not have a point, hit all 5 times. He's gone under in 23 out of the last 30 games, under in 18 out of the last 23 home games. He doesn't have a point against Colorado since May of 2022. So this guy is completely ice cold against this one. I like that he doesn't get a lot of power play minutes. It is really nice to have some of these guys that are not on the first power play line of Edmonton, because they just don't get a lot of chances to get shots and points out there. So I just keep rolling with Evander Kane. The price is still really good at minus 150. I know right off the bat, minus 150, you might, I don't know. That seems a little steep, but when you have a guy that's gone under in 23 out of the last 30 games, minus 150 is a bargain. It's a great price when you're looking at it and you're playing this night in and night out. So I'll just keep going back to it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Evander Kane did not have a point.
Gotta love it, man. We talked about it earlier, and this guy, the number doesn't really change too much either as far as that price is concerned. Andy, do you think that maybe because the Oilers score so many goals consistently, but a lot of them are on the power play, that could be a reason why his price doesn't change on that? Because he's not out there on the power play, as you mentioned, but some people kind of call them power play fiends, right? They're kind of like the team that doesn't score as many 5-on-5 goals, but they get a lot of power play goals. And isn't that's kind of a factor with getting the good mind? I mean, how is the number still so fair when he's going under every game on his points?
You know, I can't figure out the algorithm because there are some guys and some props where the number changes immediately. And then there are some guys where the prices just stayed this entire season, and I don't really understand it. I've tried to find a mathematical reason why, and I guess I've just come to the conclusion, just accept it. Be happy with it. Stay away from the guys where they aggressively move the lines. Like, a little example, in NBA, Tyrese Halliburton, he started to go over his made 3 points. It was minus 120. 3 games later, it's minus 180. Yet you have Evander Kane that keeps going under, and it's been the same for 3 weeks. So I'm not really sure what the reason is. I guess I don't really need to know the reason. I'll just take it at the minus 150 and keep cashing on it.
I'm going to have an over in the best bet segment, but I've got an under as well to look at here. And it's kind of funny because this game could feature a ton of goals, a ton. But this guy doesn't really pass the puck very much. Yeah, he's got a decent, he can pass. He has good vision. But every team has those players that are just more known for their shot. If you haven't guessed right now, I'm talking about the Edmonton Oilers star player, Leon Draisaitl. He hasn't recorded an assist in 7 of his last 10 games. When they pass him the puck, they're usually not expecting him to pass it to anyone else. He's the finisher. He's the guy that is supposed to take the puck and put it in the net himself. And so the fact of the matter is, McDavid, still has a ton of goals in the year, but he has a just unbelievable amount of assists. The way he draws people in, distributes the puck around, finds his teammates, and a lot of times that teammate is Leon. So the fact is, when Draisaitl gets that puck on his stick, he's not looking for anyone else. He's looking to complete the play. So under on assists for Draisaitl, 7 of his last 10 games might be worth a sprinkle. And again, you're getting a real good price here. You can get plus 100 to minus 105. I think it's a good number for that. But overall, I couldn't agree more with Carmine. I mean, this to me is going to be a disappointed Oilers team right now. It's fired up to come out with a big effort. The Avalanche, to me, have just been so consistent. They're so deep. I mean, they've got like 6 guys that can score on a nightly basis. It's very impressive how they've constructed their roster. And I was looking this morning at some of the contracts these guys are on. They've got a window right now for the next year or two, guys, for some of these players on good contracts. Mikko Rantanen has to get paid. I think after next season, or maybe halfway through, they're going to start doing negotiations. This is a window for this talented roster to continue putting up goals and make a run. So Edmonton and Colorado together, full game over for me. But I have to say, when I found that Draisaitl prop under on assists, it's kind of intriguing. It's kind of like taking Ovechkin under on assists. That guy's not passing it. He's trying to break Gretzky's record. You guys think he wants to give the puck up? Like, I don't think he's trying to get the passing play of the night highlight. He wants to score. So those assist props towards the under can be good sometimes. You know what I mean, Carm? Like, I don't think Ovechkin and Draisaitl, I don't think they're getting the puck on a platter and looking to pass the puck back to somebody else.
Andrew, I agree with you on this. I think as far as you're talking about Ovechkin, I think he's you might want to start looking at if you haven't been looking at all the last 6 games. Take his shot props over. I think every single time. I know, Andy, you love the unders, but this guy wants to finish this season. If he doesn't make the playoffs, by picking up some more goals, he's going to be firing at that net like crazy. Kind of like Austin Matthews is on a roll right now, and he's nearing that 70 goals. the other night against Tampa Bay. At one point, he had 6 shots on net, but he had 13 attempts. 7 of them were blocked, and he had already gone over his shot total. Speaking of Austin Matthews, Andrew, I'm going to make the prediction here. It's a bold one, but Austin Matthews will end up breaking Ovechkin's record. If Ovechkin beats Gretzky, Austin Matthews will end up with the most goals in the NHL. The man is on a run. If the guy stays healthy, and the way the NHL plays right now with the offense, this guy's popping out 60 and 70 goal seasons. I know that's not going to continue once you hit your 30s, but if this guy is continuously going 50 and 60, 50 and 60 each and every year, he's going to get there.
I agree.
So Austin Matthews. All right. I would. There's no prop on that because a book would love to put it up because they would love to hold your money for the next 7, 8 years. But it's not one. It's a bet you make with your friend, and then the day you go to collect it, you find out that he passed away like 2 weeks earlier, or at least they're saying he did. But with that said, Andrew, that's my bold statement on Austin Matthews of the Leafs.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I said that earlier in the year as well. I mean, why is everyone talking about Ovi? But obviously, he's the one that's close. But the trajectory and the path that Matthews is on is great. And for all of you guys that said in the past couple of days in the comment section that we bring up the Leafs too much, well, at least there's a positive thing. Look, Carmine and I on a Friday here saying some nice things about them. So there we go. But yeah, I know what you mean about tying up the money. It's kind of like, Andy, do you ever see those props like on offshores that were saying Tiger Woods' son will win a major? Like,
I was just going to bring that up. I was just going to bring up 2 years ago, they brought up his 12-year-old son, will he win a major? Yeah. Like, oh yes, that's great. I would love to tie up my money in an offshore for 40 years. What a great bet.
Yeah. If he does win one, like how many years would that be? Like that would be what? 15 years? At least
15 years. Yeah, be at least 15 years. So there's no way the book can still be around as well.
Yeah, exactly. Your account's just shut down. You don't even get the money. You don't even get the money back. So I like that one quite a bit. All right, Carm, you have taken a look at some games for Saturday's slate, and it's a decent Friday slate. We've got a handful of games. It's better off than when the three of us do a show together and there's 1 or 2 games to break down. Decent slate, but obviously a massive Saturday. So what games have you decided to break down or quickly mention for Saturday's slate?
I'm going to get into the 6 and 60. Last week's 6 and 60, I believe, went either went 4-2 or 4-1-1, something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a winning one. So we're going to try and follow up on that. This is going to take me more than 60 seconds, so I'm not going to get the applause from our producer on this one. But first of all, loving the NHL right now, just because expanded days and games on days. All week we saw it, and it's going to be decision day at the end of the season. The season ends on the 18th, but if you look at the games on the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, the playoff races are going to come down to those 4 days. There's some unbelievable games there and matchups, and I think that's when some playoff spots get settled. But with that said, this is going to turn out to like the 6 and 80, I'm pretty sure, because I've got a lot of notes on this one. But producer Dan, I am ready when you are. All right, 6 and 60. Dallas and Chicago. Stars 8 straight wins and 2 shutouts in their last couple of games. They aren't taking their foot off the pedal. Stars in regulation over Chicago. Tampa and Pitt. Yes, the Pens are streaking right now, but let's not forget this Tampa team. 10-1-1 their last 12 and 10-1-1 their last 12 on the road. Give me Tampa money line on this one. Philly and Columbus, second of a back-to-back for the struggling Flyers. And Columbus 6-4-1 at home. Their last 11 wins over Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Colorado, Vegas, and the Rangers. Give me the plus money if it's available on Columbus. Toronto and Montreal. Rivalry game. Montreal always gets up for Toronto, but we're stamping the bingo card with this one. We're taking the Leafs with the 4th best road record in the Eastern Conference. Edmonton and Calgary. Another rivalry game. Oilers on the second of a back-to-back. Flames want to beat them. We're going to see some goals in this one. 43-28-4 is the over for the Flames this season. Their record over 6.5. New Jersey and Ottawa over 6.5 as well. Sends 23-14-2 to the over at home. Devils 21-16-1 to the over on the road. Both profitable. Let's see some goals. That's your 6 and 90.
6 and 85. Great stuff, Carm. Lots of little notes in there and some tidbits for guys to get ready for Saturday's slate. I like it.
I did warn you it was going to be a long one, but I wanted to throw some notes in there, Andrew. And Andrew, I know you're going to be cheering for the Leafs. For Montreal against the Leafs. It's in Montreal. They get up for the game against Toronto. I'm telling you, it's like, and you know it, it's like their Stanley Cup to their fans. Anytime they can send the Leafs home with that L, they absolutely love it, man. They get up for the Leafs each and every time. But the Leafs off that loss to Tampa Bay, and they're still positioning in that Atlantic conference. That I think it's an important 2 points for the Leafs. They've got to be better in that one. Some interesting games. Totals are always tough on those last two, but again, when you've got teams that aren't in the playoffs, sometimes they just love to play some open ice hockey. And as I said to Kelly, you guys can chime in on this one. These teams that are eliminated from the playoffs, they're especially the forwards or defense in your own zone. Are you getting in front of a guy slapping a puck at 85 miles an hour to block a shot? No. You're just
Right.
You want to finish your last 6 games of the season, grab the golf clubs, head down to Florida. The last thing these guys want are bruises and what have you. No one's getting in front of those shots, or at least it's that fake attempt where they try and go down, but they're really moving away from the guy and giving them a clear angle at the goalie. Those are pond hockey games, and we're probably going to see some of them to close out the NHL season.
Yeah, real quick, Andy, are you playing props in more so playoff teams, would you say, or non-playoff, or it's been way different, or each night is different?
Give me the unders on the terrible teams.
Terrible teams, yeah.
Terrible teams and unders. I know what the popular games are to watch, but for me, give me those Anaheim Duck games. I've been watching a lot of Anaheim Duck games recently, so
I feel sorry for you.
Be pretty. What are you gonna do? It's great when they cash, because then you feel like you haven't wasted a night watching Anaheim play whatever other terrible team. So it's going to be tough when the playoffs hit. I'm going to miss all my bad teams. They've been very, very profitable for me. So I'm going to have to try and figure out a new strategy for the playoffs when all the good teams are left.
Some people actually have to pay money to go watch the Ducks. Andy's getting paid to watch the Ducks, making money betting on them. Carm, you mentioned the Habs. Yeah, man, their schedule down the stretch is horrible. For anybody, I found this website. People probably already know about this, some people, but it applies for NBA and NHL. It's called tankathon.com. And it pretty much helps you realize the strength of schedule or weakness of schedule of teams. And Montreal is like bottom 3 worst schedule remainder of the season. They just had Florida. They just had, Tampa, some great teams. And here come the Leafs. So I'm not hopeful, Carm, but I'll be watching tomorrow night as well as UFC and the college Final Four. Let's get into the best bets here, guys. We got a great promo code there for Andy. It is not Lang. It is Andy. Why don't you tell us about what you have going on this weekend, brother, and what you have going tonight?
Yeah, we got just a lot of plays for this weekend. We've got NHL tonight. We're number 1 on the NHL season in profits, ROI, winning percentage. We've got UFC plays that are up. We will have MLB. There's a Formula 1 race, so we will definitely have Formula 1 plays. So let's just do a promo code for the weekend. Andy3, $49 for all 3 days, and it includes all percentages, all sports. We're up 59 units in 2024, so we're looking to add to that. And NHL play goes off tonight. For best bet, I'm actually going to take an over. Lawson Krause for Arizona has been really good on his shots on goal. It's only minus 160, so I'll take over 1.5 against Vegas. He's gone over in 6 straight. He's gone over in 21 out of the last 30 games. And he's played Vegas twice this season. He's gone over in both games. So I feel like a little bit under the radar prop for tonight. Give me Krause over shots on goal as the show's best bet.
All right, Lawson Krause from the Arizona Coyotes over 1.5 shots on goal. Guys, fantastic NHL year for Andy. Make sure you check him out at WagerTalk.com. Carm, you're off a huge night in the NHL, that big slate that was Thursday night's NHL. What do you have going tonight? And what's your best bet for us?
Yeah, trying to get back on that run. We had 4 or 5 low days, but like as Ralph Michaels is always great at giving me these streaks because the promo stuff doesn't always come to me that great. But 41, 21 and 1, 66% a run for me in the NHL. Number one in NHL profits the last 30 days. And he also came up with this one 53, 34 and 4, 62% overall run with NHL. So it's been good. You can use Carm 30 to get $30 off a 7-day all access. So that's Carm 30 to get 30 off a 7-day all access, which will cover you till next week's 6 and 60. Andrew, for my best bet, I'm going to go right back to that game that we talked about, the Edmonton game. It's hard to ignore the scoring the Oilers do at home. 8-0-1 run for them. Obviously, the one is a loss, but averaging 4.78 goals. And the Avalanche in 6 games on the second of a back-to-back, they're in action, and they've got a back-to-back coming up as well too. They are 7.17 goals scored in those games. Listen, you put stars on the ice, they're going to score you goals, and we're going to see them tonight. This one soars over the total of 6.5 as your show best bet.
It's definitely the game of the night. I look forward to watching it. Colorado, Edmonton, up and over 6.5. A great run there for Carmine. WagerTalk.com. Find his plays as well. Guys, for me, it's going to be a very spread out weekend. We got MLB, NHL, UFC, a little bit of NBA thrown in there. As far as college hoops, we're just watching as a fan. Enjoy those games, enjoying the madness. But use that promo code AM69. Get 1 week of plays for $69. Only 2 more days left of this special. So if you want 1 week of every play, use that great deal at WT.buzz/AM. Well, I mentioned how great that game is, Colorado, Edmonton, and it's an opportunity to bet some overs. Well, how about defenseman Cale Makar to record an assist? Not a point, but an assist at -125. The point prop, the price is just way too high. You get that down to -125 with the assist. It's certainly worthy of a wager here. He's out there on all the power plays. He's constantly jumping into the rush, and he has great players like McKinnon, Rantanen, Nichushkin, Drouin surrounding him to finish off those plays when he makes great passes. 7 of his last 10 games, he has recorded an assist, and I believe he will tonight as well at a great -125 price. So, guys, wishing you all a very great Friday, an awesome, profitable weekend, and we hope to see you all right here again on Monday on PuckTime.